I said GG's, Dandadas, hyenas. Scuba Downs who learn from Scuba Steve was criminated, y'all. I rock Luther King X. Don't forget the Kennedy doing his minimum match right here on YouTube because I can accept the most high. The dollar life, what you make it. You can't love it, you can't hate it. It's gonna be simply what you make it. The dollar, we standing on business. The dollar, that's just what it is. Shit. You heard the dollar. God chose you because he knew he could trust you. You God's best kept secret. The dollar, you heard. Yo, we here the dollar, and we here the dollar on a later night than usual. And it's just so happened the it just so happened that pardon me that people they run contact on mad on everything like they run contact on everything but a lot of shit gets swept under the rug so you mean to tell me that the Diddy trial is more important than two firefighters actually losing their life like no one's talking about this shit like what actually happened in Idaho people started a brush fire. Somebody started a brush fire. Somebody started a brush fire, Gigi. So who started a brush fire and start sniping first responders? That's what I want to know. Who started brush fires and start sniping first responders? Because in my eyes, firefighters always been the good guys. Firefighters, they're like the medics, You know what I'm saying? Firefighters be like the medics, GG. So firefighters always been the good guy, And this shit, it seems like it's not even making the national news, GG. Like this shit's supposed to be some ordinary type of situation that's going on, or maybe too much shenanigans is going on in the world that people don't really care, if something happens like that. Like, what the hell, that's crazy. That's crazy work, So we gonna do this, We gonna take a moment of silence, for the firefighters, who lost their life, you know what I'm saying, for, serving they job, because firefighters, they're like medics, they pull up, before medics sometimes. Firefighters be on duty sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So they do their thing. And that's a fact, GG. So moments of silence for them, What's up? And then when some tragedy happens like that, it's like the government, they automatically find us. They automatically just, oh yeah, we found a suspect, he had a gun, he shot himself, Is that the right suspect? Did y'all actually find the right suspect? Or y'all just found a random person that just automatically right there, that who happened to just shoot himself, They had a phone, in the area, That could have been planned, GG. People was planning shit nowadays, It's all set up. It's all coerced, It's all coerced setup, GG. That's a motherfucking finny, but yo, that shit's different. It really got ambushed. Yeah, who is the dude who killed these firefighters? That's what we gotta figure out. And it's crazy that no one's even no one's talking about this. It's hard to find some news about this shit, Like this shit's getting swept underneath the rug, which is a scarce situation. What the fuck is going on? Shit's getting a little brutal. Oh shit. They try to sweep some shit like this under the rug. That shit's different.
Shooting of 2 Idaho firefighters on Sunday has left many questioning what could possibly be the motive for such a heinous act. But one theory has gripped the internet. In the afternoon on June 29th, first responders were called to a small but active brush fire on the east side of Canfield Mountain near Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. As fire crews moved in to tackle the blaze around 2 p.m., bullets suddenly rained down, fired by an unknown assailant hiding in the woods, officials said. The grisly scene was captured in harrowing 911 audio as firefighters were pinned down by the crazed shooter.
There's an active shooter at a fire.
Alright, first thing I get from this, what did the firefighters do? Like, I know the firefighters absolutely didn't do that. Who is this person? Did he lose a firefighter job? Did he not make it to the firefighter academy? Like, why would he take out his anger on firefighters? You know what I'm saying? Did one of the firefighters smack his girl? Maybe one of the firefighters took his girl. Like, why would he target firefighters? Like, what you got against firefighters? Firefighters always been cool. I never met not one firefighter personally. When they grabbing their food and shit, you see them at the market, leave them alone. They might be a little bit aggy, then, you know what I'm saying? But they be chill then too, But when you ask them, yo, let me see, the firefighter, you know what I'm saying, toot the horn, let me see the truck, like, niggas usually be, you know what I'm saying, they actually some good ass people, the firefighters usually, you know what I'm saying? Usually, like, that's crazy, GG.
There's essentially 2 battalion chiefs down. They're shot. BC3's down. BC1's down. Everybody's shot up here. Law enforcement, code 3 now up here. Then immediately up here.
And, like, how does a random person, plan out such a act, got people, like, this nigga planned out a whole act, and made, like, ain't like he just went to, he went to a firefighter. He went to a firefighter building or a firefighter house. Or he was at a fight. Like he went into the inner city or some type of shit. This dude actually happened to start a fire and have them come to, I guess, the outskirts into the woods. And you know how much equipment you gotta fucking carry and all that shit. So they was like sending ducks over there. But I don't get it. Why the fuck will a dude do it to firefighters? And on some real let's let's say this angels and they got some angels in our outfield. So we going, what I'm saying, we going to say give our condolences to the people's family who lost someone, for the families who lost someone, the firefighters' family who lost somebody or whatnot. It's crazy that this shit gets swept under the rug. Or maybe it's too far out. You know what I'm saying? Not getting too much attention.
2 unresponsive battalion chiefs, gunshot wounds, multiple gunshot wounds.
The horrific ordeal ended about 5 hours later when SWAT teams discovered the lifeless body of the shooter next to his firearm on a popular tourist trail, according to police. On June 30th, the shooter was ID'd by police as Wes Rowley. It was confirmed that a Coeur d'Alene firefighter and a Kootenai County Fire and Rescue member lost their lives in the sudden strike, while a third firefighter was left fighting for life after surgery, but is now in stable condition. Kootenai County Sheriff Robert Norris said in a news conference.
We do believe that the suspect started the fire, and we do believe that it was an ambush and it was intentional.
While police have yet...
Why would he ambush firefighters? That's what I don't get. And he just killed himself? So y'all didn't see him. Y'all don't know what happened. Like, y'all don't know what, like, y'all didn't see nothing. Y'all just ran up on him and see him with a gun near him and somebody. What the fuck? This shit sounds staged. I don't care in front of that. This shit sounds a little staged. Unless, like, that's crazy.
To release any conclusions on Rowley's motive, Internet sleuths discovered a shocking coincidence concerning the town's fire department. The deadly incident occurred 24 years to the day of the deliberate burning of the headquarters of the far-right Aryan Nations group in Hayden Lake, just 7 miles from Coeur d'Alene. Aryan Nation leader Richard Butler was forced to sell the site in a bankruptcy sale after being ordered to pay a Native American woman $6.3 million as part of a lawsuit, after the hate group's security guards had opened fire at the woman, Victoria Keenan, when she stepped outside the building with her son in 1998. Keenan bought the dilapidated compound for $95,000 and sold it to a local philanthropist who let the local Coeur d'Alene Fire Department burn it down as part of a training exercise. On June 28th and 29th of 2001, the Coeur d'Alene Fire Department conducted the training exercise.
No way, the Aryan Brotherhood, what the fuck, nigga? Oh, he took shit personal, Dundada. So they burned down the fire department burned down. So did he get the right fire department? Like, what? That don't even make sense, Dundada. What you mean the fire department? Like you act like the fire department went over there, Dundada, and just burned down the area, nigga. No, nigga, the state told the fire department to burn it down, nigga. Like, what the fuck the fire department got to do with it? And the fire burned down any building, Dundada. It was burned down because the state told them to burn it down, bro. And maybe they could do some exercises with the building, Dundada. Like, oh yeah, we got property, Dundada, in the woods, Dundada. You could burn it down, Dundada. You burn it down, Dundada. You could, you know what I'm saying, extinguish it. You know what I'm saying? Get some practice, get some learning practice, Dundada. Every brotherhood ain't playing, Dundada. They're like, yo, since these people burnt down our property, Dundada, and burnt down our Saint, that little, that, not that thing, but that house, that probably holds a lot of value, whatever the case may be, that, them niggas started in 2025? Wait a minute. Still sounds a little iffy. A little staged, It still sounds a little iffy, GG's.
Sending the compound into a furious blaze. Now, conspiracy theorists and locals are questioning whether Sunday's incident may have been a revenge attack for the fire department's deliberate burning down of the compound. So far, there is no indication that Rowley had any political motivations or ties to neo-Nazi groups.
So what the fuck did he do? Where is it? Why? Look it. When the situation happened with the president, or the situation happened with certain law enforcement and stuff like that, and they go under fire, right? They usually got the whole layout of what really happened. This shit ain't even hit TMZ. This shit ain't hit nothing, nigga. They just worry about what's the Diddy verdict, bro. What's going to be the Diddy verdict? Like, that's what they worry about. Everybody just worry about the Diddy verdict, GG. Yo, that's crazy, Dundada. So you mean to tell me a random kid out the blue starts a fire, Dundada, starts sniping people out the blue, Dundada. No political, no nothing. It's not. Why would it be political? Political shouldn't be like this. This shouldn't be political, Dundada. Like, what the hell happened, Gigi? Why they don't got no fucking? They don't got no type of information. They don't got no type of information, or they ain't giving no type of information out, probably. What y'all think? That's different right there, Dundada. This is a different one right here, Dundada. I'll tell you that.
Down behind Battalion 1's rig. It's clear to me that this fire was set intentionally to draw us in.
A sniper kills 2 firefighters in the mountains of Idaho. A third is fighting for his life.
This was a total ambush. These firefighters did not have a chance.
From CBS News headquarters in New York.
That's different, Dundada. Like, this is a total like, why? I know.
Good evening. I'm John Dickerson. Maurice is off tonight. Firefighters run toward danger. It's in the job description, but the firefighters who responded to a wildfire in the mountains of northern Idaho.
Yo, you can swear to God that the firefighters have good jobs, right? Everybody be like, yo, you want to be a firefighter, Dundada. You want to be, you know what I'm saying? Because firefighters really just extinguish your fires, Dundada. They're not really, you know what I'm saying? They probably towns that really don't have fires, Dundada. So they just be, you know what I'm saying, practically just chilling, Dundada. You know what I'm saying? Going to houses, doing the first responders, thing like that. But when it's time to run into a situation like this, or the Twin Tower buildings, when niggas is running out and the firefighters was actually running into the buildings, and when the buildings, like, that's crazy, bro. You lose a lot of firefighters. Like, that's crazy, Dundada. That's different.
Idaho over the weekend could not have imagined the danger they were about to face. Not only flames, but bullets. A sniper opened fire on them, killing 2, leaving a third fighting for his life. The local sheriff said the sniper set the fire to lure the firefighters to the scene. Why he did that, we may never know. The sheriff says the sniper, a 20-year-old transient who once aspired to be a firefighter, killed himself. Omar Villafranca is in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Omar, we understand that actually the fire...
I bet. So homie wanted to be a firefighter, Dundada. So he probably got turned down. Either he got turned down, something happened with the commission of the firefighters, Dundada. Something happened with the commissioners of the firefighters, Dundada. Or like it's a personal vendetta. Maybe it's a personal vendetta, Dundada. But he wanted to be a firefighter, Dundada. Like, what the fuck happened? It could have been a situation he was going through a training, Dundada, in the department, Dundada, and then they you know what I'm saying? Could be bullying, situations like that, Dundada. It's a lot of different shit, Dundada. Really no logic to it.
Fighters ran into this shooter before the shooting.
That's right. The sheriff says that the fire crews who were arriving interacted with Rowley and actually saw his truck and asked him to move it because they said it was blocking the way. And soon afterwards, that's when the shooting started. More than 300 officers from local and federal agencies, including sharpshooters.
That's crazy. He actually homie was blocking the way they actually talked to him, and then he disappeared and started sniping. That's different, bro.
Shooters and helicopters tried to find the sniper.
Another Coeur d'Alene firefighter down. He needs help immediately.
The first pleas for help came 40 minutes after firefighters received the call about the wildfire.
I'm pinned down behind Battalion 1's rig. It's clear to me that this fire was sent intentionally to draw us in.
Bob Norris is the sheriff of Cooney County.
We do believe that the suspect started the fire and it was intentional. This was a total ambush. These firefighters did not have a chance.
The sheriff's department says gunfire was exchanged with the suspect on the mountainside.
They don't want to hear this shit. They don't want to put this in the news, Dundada. They don't want to show this shit, Dundada. This dude got heated. He started fucking. He actually targeted the fucking firefighter right there.
His stepson is the 20-year-old gunman police believe lit a fire in a forest in northern Idaho, then gunned down firefighters who raced to respond. 2 of them are dead. 1 is critically wounded. I'm Hewitt Feld. Welcome to The World. This is a deeply shocking story, and in this episode, we're going to explain what police believe happened and tell you about those brave firefighters who were injured and killed. Let's start with where this happened. Coeur d'Alene is in northwest Idaho in the US. Population around 55,000. Canfield Mountain sits on the edge of town. It's a popular area for hiking and biking. But on Sunday afternoon, reports came in about a fire in the forest. Locals could see the smoke rising up. With the blaze so close to homes, it obviously prompted a fast response from local fire crews. But police now say the man who lit the fire was lying in wait. Here's what played out on Emergency Services Radio.
Command tender 12, level 1 staged. We're near the subject. We have an active shooter location. BC3 is down. BC1 is down. Coeur d'Alene infantry officer and engineer are pinned down and wounded. I'm pinned down by BC1's rig. Do not come up here. We need law enforcement up here immediately.
It's in the area. Do not respond in. 2 battalion chiefs down. 2 officers injured.
2 battalion chiefs down, an ambush, they say. Now, that prompted a huge response by police and first responders with a big effort to make sure any walkers in the forest were clear and safe and make sure there wasn't more than one shooter, as well as trying to ensure those firefighters battling the blaze were able to do that without getting shot too. Let's listen into the radio chatter again.
Central from BC5, where's law enforcement? Where's law enforcement?
Law enforcement is in the area trying to make contact. They have FS-19 and 2310 in the area.
Central, can you get a hold of Brush 551? Have him make sure everyone's getting away they're farther away from that parking lot, that lower paved parking lot. I'm not 100% sure they're safe there. We're not very far up. We're probably only a quarter mile up. I have no idea where the shooter's at or where they're going or which direction. I would recommend that our units, all of our fire units, escape further down the pavement towards town, maybe a half a mile or so to a safe staging area. Central from BC5, we're going to need multiple ambulances for ALS care as soon as we can get law enforcement in here to get these people out. I recommend we get no less than five ambulances staged at the bottom. I don't care where we get them from. I've got 3 that I know, 4 that I'm positive of all people that are going to need help. There's also some other pickups here. We could have pedestrians and standby bystanders that need help.
So the gap between the fire being reported and the first firefighters being shot was about 40 minutes. And now this Idaho town had a rapidly unfolding, very dangerous situation on its hands. Here's the local county sheriff, Robert Norris.
We still have civilians that are coming off of that mountain. We might have civilians that are stuck or in shock on that mountain. So this is a very, very fresh situation. We are actively taking sniper fire as we speak. This is an active situation. We have multiple agencies that are on scene from local and federal authorities, and we are prepared to neutralize this suspect who is currently actively shooting at public safety personnel. We are prepared to neutralize this suspect as quickly as possible. And that's really all that we know as of right now. We don't know who the suspects are. We don't know how many there are. So I know that it's very, very, very early, and I don't think that any questions would yield anything.
Now that I use Monday Service, AI makes solving tickets my form of meditation. Monday Service is a ticketing platform that helps us manage and automate our entire service.
That's crazy, Dandara.
A huge containment area of 17,000 square feet. Neighbourhoods were locked down. At one point, 2 helicopters with snipers aboard were deployed to take the shooter out, or neutralise them, as the sheriff put it. Then about an hour and 15 minutes after the first shots were fired by the gunman, a breakthrough. Authorities were examining mobile phone or cell phone data. There was one signal inside the search zone that hadn't moved for some time. A tactical response team moved in and they found a man dead with what they believe was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. They now faced a few problems. Primarily, that fire was still burning, so they quickly had to scoop up the body and check there wasn't any booby traps. That fire has now hampered the investigation because the crime scene isn't intact. But detectives believe the gunman was using a shotgun and he had a flint starter to light that fire. So who was he? 20-year-old Wes Rowley. No criminal record, no links to any extremist groups, no manifesto. This photo published by US media is undated, and this is a photo released by the Sheriff's Office, a freeze frame from Rowley's social media account offering a somewhat darker insight. Let's have a listen to the sheriff again.
The crime scene is active. We still have the suspect's vehicle that is up down an embankment of the mountain. Deputies who responded on scene to protect life and engage the suspect thought it would be in their best interest to get rid of what they thought was Rowley's vehicle. So they had the frame of mind to push it over the side so he couldn't come around and get in that vehicle and flee. So we have not been able to find any manifesto. We have not been able to inventory the vehicle, although people that have seen the vehicle do believe it appeared as if he was living in the vehicle. There was a lot of debris that's in the vehicle.
So the sheriff says Rowley, they think, had been living in his vehicle. So what more do they know about the 20-year-old? The sheriff has confirmed he had ties to California and Arizona and had been living in Idaho for most of last year with some relatives living north of Coeur d'Alene. He'd worked for about 6 months for a tree service. His family saying he wanted to be an arborist. His landlord once called the police because Rowley had thrown gang signs at him one day. Another time, they found him asleep in his room with his vehicle running outside for 12 hours. The landlord telling Associated Press, Rowley started, quote, acting a little weird. The quote goes on, we just kind of noticed him starting to decline or kind of go downhill, he said. 2 former classmates of Rowley from a school in Arizona told CNN he was a below-average student. Then there's a statement from Rowley's family released through his stepfather's lawyer. We do not understand why this happened or how this came about, it says. Our hearts and spirits are broken for the lost and hurting and for our own loss as well. Here's the reaction from one local.
I guess there's sick people all over the country, no matter where you live, I guess. And even a nice place as Coeur d'Alene, we can have issues like this happen. So it's just prayers for the families and everybody. It's a sad thing for everybody that's concerned, firefighters, the police, and, you know, just regular people, I guess, at the hospital, nurses and doctors and things like that, too.
Yeah, so who are the victims? 42-year-old Frank Harwood, a former Army National Guard combat engineer and married dad of 2. He was with the Kootenai County Fire and Rescue. And 52-year-old John Morrison, who'd served with the local Coeur d'Alene Fire Department for 28 years and ended up as battalion chief. The president of the local Firefighters Union said these guys were hard workers. They love their families. Here's the county fire chief, Chris Way, paying tribute.
Those flashy cars, the rich TikTok lifestyle slideshows you see all the time, high-rise cribs, you've seen them. But are you just watching or are you trying to make that a reality? Now look, I get it. You're stuck in a loop of watching all these internet money dudes make all the...
It saddens me to announce that Battalion Chief Frank Harwood, 42 years old, has been a member of our department for 17 years, passed away in the line of duty yesterday. Chief Harwood is married, has 2 children. He is also a former Army National Guard combat engineer, so he's a veteran as well. Chief Harwood was a leader in our organization. He did an amazing job. He was a shift commander. He was well respected by his shift. This loss is felt by so many, including all of the members of his shift that worked and saw the incident yesterday.
From the Coeur d'Alene Fire Department, Battalion Chief John Morrison sustained fatal gunshot wounds yesterday and died in the line of duty. John Morrison began his career with the Coeur d'Alene Fire Department back in 1996. He's the battalion chief of Blue Shift, and he's held the ranks of firefighter, engineer, captain, battalion chief, and he's also a longtime paramedic for our department. He has served the city of Coeur d'Alene in this community for over 28 and a half years.
There's also a third firefighter, 47-year-old Dave Tisdall. He's recovering from his gunshot wounds. This town in northern Idaho has been badly rattled by this horrible afternoon. Let's hear from the local city council president and some other residents.
It's a difficult and dangerous job, but the danger is encountered every day.
Crazy part is, I didn't hear nothing about homie, the dada. They ain't give you no insight about homie, the dada. This is different. They didn't give no insight about what's going on with homie, the dada.
Point remain unclear, but his grandfather told CNN he wanted to become a firefighter himself, and police gave an update on how the fire was started.
Rowley was found to be in possession of a flint starter, and we believe that was his method for starting the fire. that eventually led to firefighters responding.
Those firefighters responded and came under fire. 2 firefighters were killed. Coeur d'Alene Battalion Chief John.
Damn, the RIP. Look like some good dudes, the Dada.
Morrison and Kootenai County Battalion Chief Frank Harwood. A 3rd firefighter, Dave Tinsdale, was critically wounded. He remains in the hospital. Kootenai County Fire Chief told CNN that their fire teams, as you might imagine, remain shaken from this attack.
The team is, as you can expect, shaken. The families are our focus. The families of the fallen as well as the injured are our focus. We're wrapping our arms around them, but and also at the same time focusing on our firefighters that were on the scene and survived and had to see this horrific incident unfold.
Joining me now is former FBI crisis management and tactical operations leader, as well as a veteran firefighter, Jason Pack. Thank you so much for being there. I see your helmet there. Look, Rolly's grandfather said his grandson wanted to become a firefighter, but here he is, luring firefighters to a scene just to shoot at them. What does this tell you about him?
Good morning, ma'am, and thanks for honoring the firefighters at the top of your piece there. It's we've talked a lot about the investigation, but I think it's just as important to remember those brave men that have given their life serving their community. So thanks for helping us honor those. As far as the investigation goes, Ms. Seidner, we've seen the public information come out from the Sheriff Norris there about this incident. And what they've learned as we've been talking about putting this timeline together, figuring out the pieces and the kernels and the breadcrumbs that might lead us back to the why of this case. They were able to find former roommates, former neighbors, former colleagues that he may have worked with, all with bits and pieces of information. So including sleeping in his car. And there was some information that firefighters asked him to move his vehicle at the brush fire. That came out yesterday. There was also a photograph, Sarah, of an Instagram post that the sheriff held up. All these things, when taken together, kind of paint the picture a little bit of what they may be looking at. So why would someone who wanted to be a firefighter attack firefighters? I think that's the million-dollar question, and why it might be too early to tell. Sometimes when somebody wants to be part of a close-knit family like the fire service, and for whatever reason, they're not able to make it, that could be perceived as a grievance. And just something as small as asking him to move his vehicle may have been the last thing that set him off as a sign of disrespect or a grievance, something like that.
Yeah, that's a really interesting take on it as well. I do want to go back to that picture. Can we put the picture back up that was shown by authorities from his Instagram? He has on, camouflage, and he's got this picture that is on there with him. What does that tell you? It appears in this photo that he was going to war there.
Click here to make your very own monster unadapted mind.
That's different right there. He was going to, wow.
Sarah, what makes these things so difficult is this piece of information in and of itself may not say anything, but when you combine it with the facts, you could consider this to be a little bit of leakage or fantasy, like foreshadowing what may be happening. Now, just because someone does this on Instagram or social media every day doesn't necessarily indicate something bad has happened. But when you take this all into the total picture, like the investigators there in Kootenai County have been doing in Coeur d'Alene and interviewing the neighbors and the witnesses, and talking about isolating living in your car by yourself. I heard that there were seen reporting that there were welfare checks of him leaving his car running for several hours, just some odd behavior, as we might call it. So what they're trying to do is figure out the why to this, and that why, I've seen in these types of cases before, is not one particular thing or another thing. It's usually a combination of a lot of these different things. And then one incident, whether it was asking him to move his car at the fire scene, was probably the final thing that set him off.
You know what's crazy, Dada? Oh, they said to move his. So were they trying to say that it wasn't intentional, it wasn't planned, Dada? No, it wasn't planned. The firefighters told him to move his truck, so this dude decided, Dada, to start picking him off, Dada. What? And if that was a town of 55,000, you could, like, if he went to a high school, it's probably just a couple high schools. There ain't really too many high schools there. Like, everybody probably would know each other in that town and stuff like that. So a lot of people actually know this kid, so they could have gave you an insight of who this kid was or whatever the case may be.
You talked about the firefighters, as I did at the very beginning. Can you give me some sense, as someone who was a firefighter himself, of what this will do to not only those firefighters who were on the scene that day, witnessing this horror and being terrified as they are literally being sniped at by someone with a high-powered rifle, but what this will do to firefighters just going forward every time they're called to a scene?
Well, right now, Sarah, the firefighters are coming on shift in your community this morning. They're checking their trucks off. They're sitting around the breakfast table having a cup of coffee, and I guarantee you they're talking about this. This is shaking firehouses in the country. They train for active shooters, but they train to fight fire, not take fire. So this will have to be another type of training that they'll have to put in. What if you start taking fire? It's not uncommon for firefighters, particularly EMS folks, to be injured on the job, whether that's a violent patient. You always want to make sure the scene is safe. That's one of the first things they teach you when you're working with this. Make sure law enforcement has the scene safe before you go in. But sometimes the unpredictability of that, it's much different than responding to a brush fire, which undoubtedly they've been doing every week at least up there. And it's a routine call. Not every call is not routine, but they're familiar with how to fight brush fires up there. It's something you would never, ever expect in a million years, but it has shaken firehouses across the country. And I know the fire service across the country and indeed across the world grieves with Coeur d'Alene and Kootenai counties today.
Yeah, and our hearts go out to the Morrison and Harwood families there as well, who lost loved ones in this senseless attack. Jason Pack, thank you so much. That was great. Appreciate you coming on.
Authorities in Idaho have identified the suspect in the deadly ambush on firefighters who were responding to a brush fire in the city of Coeur d'Alene on Sunday. 20-year-old Wes Rowley is believed to have opened fire before turning the gun on himself. CNN's Julia Vargas-Jones has those details.
Smoke rising from the forest in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. A call prompting firefighters and then police to rush into action.
Some law enforcement right now, there's an active shooter zone. I'm pinned down behind Battalion 1's rig. It's clear to me that this fire was set intentionally to draw us in.
The gunman, now identified as 20-year-old Wes Rowley, according to the sheriff, spoke to first responders, then used a shotgun to kill 2 firefighters and seriously injure another.
We do know that he did contact the firefighters when they came on scene, and there was a discussion.
After the ambush, law enforcement said they exchanged fire for 90 minutes.
We've got 2 unresponsive battalion chiefs, gunshot wounds, multiple gunshot wounds.
Bullets, they say, seem to be coming from multiple directions, leading law enforcement to believe they were engaging with more than one gunman. In the end, a single suspect was found dead with a firearm near his body.
It appears that he shot himself. We believe that he engaged deputies from the tree.
Yesterday was one of the most absolute darkest days.
Coeur d'Alene Battalion Chief John Morrison and Kootenai County Fire and Rescue Battalion Chief Frank Harwood died in the attack.
Chief Harwood is married, has 2 children. He is also a former Army National Guard combat engineer, so he's a veteran as well.
Battalion Chief John Morrison sustained fatal gunshot wounds yesterday and died in line of duty. He has served the city of Coeur d'Alene in this community for over 28 and a half years.
Another firefighter is still in critical condition. Firefighter Ben Hector got an all-hands page to come in after the shootings. Like many here, he knows the victims well.
These were your guys.
The chief was my chief. We know each other well. My friend in the hospital, he owns a really cool Christmas tree farm. My sons have gone to work for him.
That's different. I guess they I don't know, they don't got no information for us, Dada. They don't have no real type of information, GG, on who Wes Rowley is, Dada. But he wanted to be a firefighter. No one could say anything, Dada.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the pod. I'm Amy Cutler, joined by senior investigative producer Cody Lillick. We looked into the suspect, 20-year-old Wes Rowley, and his background.
What you find out,
Yeah,
GG?
and first we should start with what happened in Idaho, the tragic events up there. Authorities say Rowley started that fire on a mountain in rural northern Idaho near the Washington state line. They tell us that first responders briefly interacted with him and asked him to move his vehicle, but they had no idea what would be coming next. About 40 minutes into that response to a fire is when investigators say 20-year-old Wes Rowley started shooting at the firefighters. 2 firefighters, Frank Harwood and John Morrison, were killed, and a third firefighter is injured and still recovering.
Authorities say they used cell phone data to determine his location. His body was found along with a firearm. They tell us it appeared.
You know what's crazy, Dandada? Because they be like the what's that shit called? The life crisis witnesses, Dandada, like people that be on like. Have you ever seen somebody that look like they've been on the news before somewhere else? You're like, yo, this person look like they've been on a different type of news, Dandada, for fucking for speaking for a different type of crisis that happened, Dandada. Or you know what I'm saying, like it's crazy, Dandada. I don't know how these people, Dandada, find these news things, and end up appearing here, there, all these different states, on the news, when certain situations happen.
He shot himself. Kootenai County Sheriff Robert Norris says they are still investigating, but explained they do not have a motive.
We have not been able to find any manifesto. We have not been able to inventory the vehicle, although people that have seen the vehicle do believe it appeared as if he was living in the vehicle.
So that got people starting to look at who is this suspect, who would do such a thing and start this fire and practically ambush firefighters. So investigators and even us in the media have been, kind of retracing the family tree. And in an interview, Rowley's grandfather, I believe it was his paternal grandfather in Oklahoma, says that Rowley was living on his own and that he appeared to be doing well there in Idaho. The grandfather explained that Rowley actually wanted to be a firefighter and had possibly applied to a department in Idaho.
Things he's excited about and wanted to do in life. And, I know that he wanted to be a fireman. He was trying to be a forestry fireman. I'm pretty sure he had. He told me that he had talked to the local fire department there.
That was Dale Rowley, Wes Rowley's grandfather, talking on the phone with a local news station about what he had last known about his grandson. The sheriff in northern Idaho said that they are aware that Wes Rowley might have applied with a department, and they're looking into that if it had anything to do with what unfolded on that mountain. Criminologist Casey Jordan spoke to CNN about how Rowley's ambition to be a firefighter or possible recent application to a department might be something that set him off.
So we know that sometimes arsonists are volunteer firefighters or firefighter wannabes, people who have
Damn, done. That's crazy. Yo, because this dude wanted to be a firefighter, but before you become a firefighter, that means that you always wanted to be a firefighter. They usually got their walkie-talkies. They be showing up to the firefighter scenes. The firefighters be telling them move their truck from where they get away, that they doing their job. Like they can't be a firefighter right there. That is different. It happens like that, GG. I'm telling you. Like, before you become a firefighter, you always want to be a firefighter. So that means you got the walkie-talkies. You're probably showing up to the scenes, to the firefighter scenes, you know what I'm saying? In your own personal vehicle, you know what I'm saying? Just getting acquainted with how things work, because, you know what I'm saying? And situation gets that you probably can't make it. I wouldn't know why, maybe certain things, you know what I'm saying? Anybody can actually become anything they want to become, you know what I'm saying? So maybe you can't make it to the firefighter situation. Yeah, that's sort of
applied to become firefighters and been rejected. And one wonders, did he actually apply to become a forest firefighter? I will be very interested to know if there are any applications out there. And was he rejected, or was he just feeling down on his luck and hopeless? And use the fire setting not to feel just powerful, although there's a lot of psychology there, but also to use it as a bait trap for firefighters, which he's alleged to have shot and killed 2 of. Maybe it was revenge. We will find out more as we piece together his recent weeks in Idaho.
And that's exactly what the sheriff's office and authorities from many agencies are doing now, going back and looking at Rowley's previous actions and movements before this tragic incident unfolded there in northern Idaho. The only recent thing shared by law enforcement that we know of was a photo Rowley reportedly posted himself to Instagram. This appeared in an Instagram story, so it's one of those that disappears. But he's seen wearing camo and is seen having ammunition along his belt line. And in the post, he attached the song Hunter by Bjork. Overall, the sheriff said they have had very minor run-ins with Rowley before this deadly shooting.
The Kootenai County Sheriff's Office and Coeur d'Alene Police Department, we've had 5 interactions with Rowley. And of those 5 interactions, we've had 3. Coeur d'Alene Police had 2. They're very, very minor in nature. They had to do with more trespassing. He was trespassing at a location. He was asked to leave, and he cooperated. We had some welfare checks on Rowley, and very, very minor. We don't show any criminal history for Rowley.
So that, again, the Kootenai County Sheriff, they're going through and kind of unveiling that, they have a lot of questions left to be answered and nothing.
That nigga wanted to be a firefighter, like Shorty said, he wanted to be a firefighter, he couldn't make it to the fire to be a firefighter, he took it all personal. When he took it personal, shit went crazy, GG.
Really evident that would indicate anything like what unfolded in Idaho.
It helped that they went to the fire scene. He started the fire. They're already probably feeling the energy, like maybe this person started the fire. What it is, they're about to do their job. They telling him move his truck out of there because he probably started the damn fire.
And we searched here in Arizona, and we had not been able to find any criminal history of him here either.
And we should point out, as this investigation is still underway, they really kind of zoom in on every little thing, every interaction to really sort of piece together exactly what happened, but also determine if there was something, a red flag that might have been raised in some way that they could have stopped what unfolded from happening.
Yeah, and that's one of the first things that...
over there, they really don't get too much crime, because what the hell are you talking about, bro? Like, why didn't you just go through the paper, see what school you went to? Then you could have talked, like, what are you talking about? That wouldn't even make no sense.
Usually, we've unfortunately had too many of these incidents unfold where it's a mass casualty incident. And that's one of the first things is law enforcement looks back, okay, how many interactions have we had with this individual? So not even arrests, but interactions. So anytime a law enforcement officer interacts with someone, they document it, they make a note of it so that if something were to happen down the line, they have this documentation showing, officer or deputy so-and-so interacted with him or, and it was just something minor that didn't result in an arrest or even a citation. So it's just going back and seeing what his movements and actions were to kind of fill in this timeline that is very bare at this time.
I also want to mention that Instagram post because it was interesting. The sheriff sort of mentioned that at the top of the press conference, shared this photo that they had found of the suspect. And I thought that was pretty interesting because on its face, it didn't look like anything, that really stood out to me. Yes, he has his firearm showing in the song, but they made a big point. I wonder what stood out to you about that.
It's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside. You just need a concept and
seems like they don't got nothing to fucking talk about.
It's chilling because, and we'll get into what we found and uncovered about him as well. But you see in our research, a high school student, a recent high school graduate, moving to a different state. But in that photo, you see, in knowing the end result, you see something completely different. So if what happened on that mountain did not occur and you showed me that photo, I would think, I mean, I grew up in a rural area in Texas. If you would have showed me that photo, I would have just thought that it was someone out in the woods going hunting, literally. But putting that together with what we know unfolded on that mountain so far, it's chilling.
Yeah, it really is. So now the question becomes, how did his family end up here in Phoenix? Because they do have some ties to Arizona. Now, according to court records, his parents moved to Phoenix from Germany. His father was a cavalry scout with the Army prior to that. We learned that as part of a divorce filing in which his mother gained full custody of Rolly, just 2 months later, she petitioned for an order of protection against Rolly's father, stating that he was verbally threatened that he would be waiting outside with a sniper rifle and threatening to burn the place down. The only thing stopping him from doing that is prison.
Yeah, so that's another aspect of, and the criminologist also talked about this, is, his upbringing. This happened here in Arizona as he was growing up here in the Valley. Not his entire childhood, but in his later years and arguably more formative years of...
It's probably mad peaceful over there, Mad hot, but maybe mad peaceful, Eugene.
Being a child and a teenager. He would eventually go on to graduate from a school here in Phoenix, North Phoenix Prep, 2 years ago. So how did he get from here in Phoenix to Idaho? We were able to find a Facebook post from his mother 2 years ago, we believe right after he graduated from high school from North Phoenix Prep, where she was posting he was leaving the airport and going to live with his father in Idaho. It's the post from 2023. His mom wrote that she's proud and excited of him and that he's going to go work for his father's tree company. We learned that he had worked for his father's tree company and also another tree company he was working for at the time of the shooting. Rolly's father told a CNN reporter outside his home in Idaho that he was actually not close with his son and had not seen him since a family gathering last year. After the shooting in Idaho, Rolly's father posted on Facebook to pay tribute to what he called the fallen heroes of June 29th, 2025. In the post, he writes, "I have no words. I'm so sorry for the families." His grandfather shared that post along with the message, "My condolences to all the family of these brave first responders. Godspeed."
And it's important as we look back at his parents' relationship here. There were some court filings. There was an order of protection. Important to note that his father denied that there was any violence there, that there was any wrongdoing, but his mother had full custody of him for a period of time. And we don't really know what changed, why specifically she decided that she should send him to live in Idaho.
That's crazy. They do the blame game. They're doing the blame game now.
Or if it was something that Rolly had wanted to do himself. So we still got a lot of questions and wonder sort of the role that might have played in all of this.
Well, and that was recently after he had just graduated. I believe it was within days to weeks of graduating. It was in May 2023. So he had just turned 18, just graduated from high school, we believe, and then makes the move.
Yeah. And Rolly's mother, important to note also, still lives here in Phoenix. In response to what happened, through a family attorney, she sent us this statement. "At this time, we, the family of Wes Rolly, would like to offer our most heartfelt condolences to the families of those whose lives were taken and to the community. We do not understand why this happened or how this came about. Our hearts and spirits are broken for the lost and hurting and for our own loss as well. We intend to fully cooperate with authorities in seeking answers.
And I know that the authorities in Idaho said that, the family is being cooperative, and by all accounts, it seems like they were caught off guard by all of this. There wasn't anything that was glaring as something was wrong that we hear so often in these cases. The only thing that kind of recently happened that we've been able to uncover is that
now that I use Monday service, AI makes solving tickets my form of meditation.
The grandfather hadn't talked to him in a while. It had been a few weeks, but he believed it was because he lost his phone. So just kind of a lack of communication there for a little bit. Who knows what happened in those few weeks? And it will be interesting to see whether, any of this reporting of him applying at a fire or a forestry department, whether that application was acted upon, and if that had anything to do with all of this. But Amy, you stopped by here in Phoenix, the home connected to the mom and the stepfather, and spoke with the neighbors. What did you find out in that neighborhood?
Yeah, so I spoke with several neighbors that live just around their home, and they had said that they really were quiet, kept to themselves. We hear that time and again, but it was interesting because none of them knew that she had a son, let alone that son was in Idaho. So it also kind of begs the question, were they out of contact? I mean, when the last time that his mother spoke with him, how close were they? Another thing that sort of stood out to me too was, so the grandfather says that he lost his cell phone, but then we learned from investigators that they used his cell phone to track them, to track him down. So you wonder, maybe had it really just been a couple weeks that the grandfather hadn't spoken to him, or how did that all come about?
Well, and just in the grand scheme of things, the grandfather, I believe, is in Oklahoma. So, I mean, almost across the country, literally. And compared to where his immediate family is, I mean, you have the father there in the immediate area of Idaho, and then mother and stepfather down here in Phoenix. So, what was the communication like there, and what happened in the interim to basically cause this to happen?
Yeah, and we know in this situation, both of the parents.
Everybody's normal ain't the same, the data. There ain't no situation. You know what I'm saying? Some people grow up with parents, some people don't. Some people grow up, just because people, got parents that had them and they are around doesn't mean that, they're actually involved. It doesn't even matter, the data. Some people is grown, some people get kicked out, some people go through their own situation. Some people be thinking they got their own train of thought. Maybe he thought the firefighters was thinking they was better than him. Maybe he started the fire, but who knows, GG? But y'all don't know. We don't know for a fact. So, let's stay more righteous. So shout out to the firefighters. Condolences to the firefighters. You know what I'm saying? And it's a crazy situation. So God told you because he knew he could trust you. God's best kept secret, the data. You know what I'm saying? Life got meaning, so act like it, the data. You know what I'm saying? Stay more aware than ever, the data. Make sure you know that God chose you because he knew he could trust you. God's best kept secret. You heard? That's a fact.